Usakasi Niyukunu. What I would like to take the time and talk to you guys about now is about DNA, genealogy, and ancestry. Um, the recent DNA studies that is explaining that we have Taíno ancestry, those reports are being misinterpreted. I would like to take time to elaborate on this. The first thing it's important to understand that we are not those Taíno ancestors that first encountered Columbus and the Spaniards. It's important to understand that what those DNA reports are saying that we are the descendants of those Taíno ancestors that first encountered Columbus and the Spaniards at the point of European arrival. Um, for example, a good way to understand this, if any of you guys have taken a test with 23andMe, they have a timeline. And that timeline, right, through population genetics, is going to tell you at what point what came in through integration. Okay. For example, recently I took another DNA test. The first time I took one was with Nat Geo. Nat Geo, in my opinion, is the least comprehensive. So I took one with 23andMe, and I also, with permission of my parents from my father's side, my family from my father's side, okay, we're all Dominican, we're all Quisqueyanos from the Dominican Republic. I got permission to get my grandparents done, their DNA, okay? And when we look at the report from 23andMe, it all shows that the native is first on the bottom. So that tells us that we are Taíno descendants from Quisqueya. Okay, we are Quisqueyanos that are Taíno descendants from Quisqueya or the Dominican Republic. Okay, and it gives a real comprehensive breakdown. And that's probably the best way to understand why we are not Taínos. Okay, it's important to differentiate the two. A Taíno descendant from a Taíno. Okay, Taíno would be comparable to a Yanomami. Okay, as there are no more pure Taínos in the Greater Antilles. What the DNA studies are explaining is, okay, that the Taíno admixed with the European and then the African, giving rise to their descendants, which is us today. Okay, that's what those DNA reports are saying. A good example of this is to look at the report. You can see it on ResearchGate, Taíno and African maternal heritage in the Greater Antilles. Okay, and that was published recently, 2017. That is a very good report. We also know that history in the Caribbean starts with Banwadi men at Banwadi Trace in Trinidad. And then we know the people that came through Yucatan, and then the Arawakan speakers that ventured into the Antilles over a period of 4,000 years. So we are a descendant of those ancestors, but it's important to know that the native aspect is the least of our genome. Some people will look at this as we are the Taínos, and when it comes to interpreting the percentages, it's important to know those percentages are telling that, yeah, we're descendants of those Taíno ancestors. Okay, so that's very important to acknowledge. So, in closing out, it's very important to acknowledge all of our ancestry, the native Taíno, the European, and African, because all of that is present in our culture and all that good stuff. So it is important that we remain grounded when it comes to understanding our genealogy, our heritage, and how do we engage in understanding the legacy of our Taino ancestors. And with bringing out this language, this new island Arawak language for Taino descendants, we want to stay grounded and realistic as possible. So this is Peter Mola. Please observe this clip with an open mind. Check out that report on ResearchGate. And until the next discussion, Wahiuba, we will conversate. Peace.